This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
Also being heard on translator K266CC Cheyenne at 101.1 FM.
Right now on 1480 KRAE, it's time for the Pro Show, featuring the only father and son sports talk show talking about the local sports scene as we take a look back and look ahead to upcoming events around our area. The Pro Show is on now, right here on 1480 KRAE. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the Pro Show. I'm Larry Proietti. Along with Nick Proietti, we go right to the telephone, bring on our first guest. He is the head football coach at Cheyenne Central, leading the Indians, I do believe, now into his 5th season as the head coach. We were talking with Mike Apodaca. Mike, it is so nice to talk with you once again. When we get to talk to you, we know it's football season.
Yeah, it is an exciting time, and we're excited, so it's good to be out on the field again.
You know, Mike, real quick, it's been an interesting coaching profession for you, especially over the last couple of seasons. We had to deal with the pandemic year of 2020. Last year we were coming out of COVID-2, the Delta variant. This year we kind of go back onto the football field, and it seems like life is normal again.
You know, it's funny that you say that. We had a kind of a COVID question today, to be honest with you, and I'm not sure any of us knew how to deal with it, because it does feel like, hey, are we just kind of, making precautions sort of thing, kids stay home, be smart sort of thing, but, we're not looking at, 10 and 20-day quarantines or those sorts of things. So, I think it's a good thing. Hopefully, just through the health safety measures, we've all learned to maybe how to handle, taking care of ourselves and when not to be around other people a little bit better, but hopefully, we can kind of move forward.
Even though, Coach, we're out of the COVID protocol, so to speak, or at least the pandemic here with COVID-19, again, we look back to those pandemic days where, again, we were, quarantining, we were at least making sure that athletes were, again, healthy, that we were cleaning down equipment, cleaning down surfaces, stuff like that. Are some of those practices still in effect, even though, again, nationwide we're kind of out of what is, so to speak, the pandemic of COVID-19?
Yeah, for sure. I think kids in general are more aware of it. We still have, a lot of that stuff around, the hand washing stuff and stuff for kids to utilize. Maybe the extremes is, we're not washing down balls after every practice, that kind of stuff that was, I guess none of us knew what was going on. So I think we found a balance in how to do things, right, for sure. So I think we've learned from it, even on this end, how we can all be a little bit safer. And whether it's COVID or the flu or anything else, I think it's probably just good practices to stay on top of some of that stuff.
Coach, let's quickly look back to last season for Cheyenne Central, going 2-8, at least making it to the quarterfinals, but eventually losing to the eventual state champion, that is the Sheridan Bronx. A team that was young, that had some veteran talent. Again, not a whole lot as previous years, but again, we saw the likes of Nathaniel Talent at least be a big playmaker. Keegan Bartlett coming over from Cheyenne East, now being the head man over there last season for Cheyenne Central. Again, it was growing pains, so to speak, for your at least team coach last year, but again, it was a youthful team that showed a lot of, at least, fight in a lot of those contests. What were your takeaways from the 2021 campaign for Cheyenne Central?
We definitely were young, and it wasn't just in a class mode thing. Like, we played our, without a doubt, fair share of sophomores and that sort of thing. But the reality is, even our senior group, I think we only brought 2 or 3 kids that had significant varsity time. If you look back, that was kind of the Andrew Johnson, Card Labados group, and we were running 22, 23 seniors out that year, so there wasn't a lot of those juniors behind them getting a lot of time, and so we were young, just not by grade, but just by experience, and it showed without a doubt throughout it. I did think last year we stayed competitive throughout the year. Just didn't have enough that experience to lean on as we went through, and you hope you don't have many of those years back and forth sort of thing, but at the same point, you get to this year now and you do have a lot more experience coming back, and that becomes a positive. So,
Mike, that was then. This is now. Let's talk about 2022. Let's talk about numbers for the summer. Here we are, second week of camp. Again, a lot of kids probably were doing weights and running, and and getting ready. But again, your feeder, McCormick, sending kids over as ninth graders this year. Let's talk about the group of kids that assembled to play football for Cheyenne Central.
You know, we had a great summer, and we're running about 100 strong. And even 5 years ago, numbers probably don't concern me as much as the kind of effort and commitment you're getting out of those numbers. And by far, this was one of our best summers. We took about 85 of those kids down to Colorado for a team camp, which is 85% of a summer attendance is great in team camp. And for the first time in several years, this is probably what I would consider in terms of my experience being a head guy. This is the first summer that I felt like it was the purest summer we had. We were able to go to 4 or 5 different 7-on-7s throughout the summer, and not only that, we had our quarterback with us. It's one of the few times we haven't had a post 6 guy, although Keegan Bartlett was in the past, but he didn't play this year. So I really felt like our development heading into this season is probably the furthest it's been since I've been here. And then same thing with the weight room. We've had a great core group of weight room kids, and we've got a really good when you talk about McCormick, I thought this was probably one of the best years coming through, where I think we've aligned ourselves about as good as we have from McCormick to here. Those kids ran our system as 8th graders, so now they're coming in fresher, and we've got 40 strong in that class working through. So I do think the trajectory is going the right direction, and now it's just putting a good product out there.
One of the nice things that you just said with Keegan Bartlett, and a credit to you and your staff, we see some really good quarterbacks come out of Cheyenne Central, and I like to think under your tutelage right now and your leadership at Cheyenne Central, Keegan Bartlett in his second campaign as a starting QB at Cheyenne Central, will have a little more veteran experience at that position, a little softer touch. And again, as Nick mentioned, some more veterans to provide some holes for him and blocking. Again, another one of those great quarterbacks that could possibly develop at Cheyenne Central.
Yeah, I think so. As good as that as Keegan was coming in, I mean, he's in a new system. Probably, spend a little bit more time, developing than even he thought he would. And he's had a great summer, and he's really found a balance, and I only see it getting better and better. I don't know that we're going to have a finished product week 1 per se, but like the rest of the team, you just hope he gets better. But he had a great summer. Like I said, we went to a lot of 7-on-7, so those are nice because all of a sudden you don't have the rush coming, and it can kind of slow it down a little bit for you and get your reads and timing right, and then all of a sudden the rush comes and it's more second nature and that sort of thing. So his ability to throw the ball is going to be real critical, and honestly, this should be one of the most balanced years we've had. We really feel like obviously Keegan's a huge threat to run the ball, but we feel like we got some great backs behind him that we really think we can kind of control the tempo with the run game as well this year.
Our first contest here on 1480 K-Radio featuring Cheyenne Central will be week 2. Again, we do have that 0 week, but again, week 2 as we will see Natrona County come on down to take on the Central High Indians. So looking forward to that matchup. Again, our first contest seeing the Indians. Coach, something I brought up in the past couple of weeks as we preview Class 4A football here in 2022. I personally believe that, again, looking at teams around the state, especially in Class 4A, 1 through 8, this is going to be a very competitive division. It doesn't feel like it's top-heavy of, again, a select few. It seems like any given Friday, home or road, 1 through 8, again, could pick up a victory. Do you feel that's kind of the feeling right now that, again, any given Friday night, anyone could come out, surprise you, you can surprise whoever, that, again, it's going to be an all-out dogfight for at least kind of playoff seedings coming up here this season?
Yeah, I agree, and I think thankfully in a lot of ways, I think things have trended that way over the last couple of years as they're starting to get on that bottom half. You look at us last year, we end up the 8th seed, but we're in games against from the last minute drive kind of things when you talk about East and Natrona, Thunder Basin, some teams that made deep runs that we were able to still hang in there, and I think that's what you're seeing across the board, and it makes for good football for the state. So, it is nice to have a little bit of competitive balance in there, and now that's why it's so important to stay healthy and develop your depth, because that's a group that's probably going to end up on the other side of it.
Mike, where do you, if you had to field the team today and we were playing tonight, where do you see the strength in the Indians right now? Where does it lie? Does it lie on defense, offense? I know last year we had problems on special teams. Where's the balance right now for the Central Indians?
Yeah, in fairness to it, I do think we're probably a little bit further ahead offensively. And a lot of times, people on camp say, defense is always, ahead early sort of thing as offense goes. But I think we're bringing such a veteran group back, and we're bringing a really talented group of linemen and backs and receivers and sort of thing. On the flip side of that, defensively, I think we're going to be strong. We're kind of building off. We had a change in personnel, and so our coaching staff, changed a little bit, and so kind of philosophy changed a little bit. So we're, still working. I wouldn't say kinks. Kids are just getting adjusted to different things that way. So I do think defensively we're going to be sound, without a doubt. A lot of, we're probably going to have more kids playing both sides of the ball than. When I say that I would like, I mean that in the fact that platooning to me is a great thing when you have the right talent to do it. But I do think the guys that we're having go both ways are great conditioned athletes and can handle staying on the field, 80% of the time. So I do think that our defense is going to be strong from week one, to be honest with you. And then, special teams, without a doubt, I think in general, we have made a concerted effort this camp to really focus on our special teams play. And, I think we got great specialists, both in returners and kickers. And I think the kids owning that side of the ball, we've made it important. Therefore, I think they're making it important. So I look for, vast improvement on that end.
Coach, and Nick and myself disagree on, how the Class 4A is going to develop this year. But if it is a balanced Class 4A 1 through 8, let's just say that for an example, I guess you will be allowed to make a mistake in a certain game. But the bottom line is, with your team, is this a team that's going to improve every game, or you expect them to be right there, kicking the other teams in the teeth right away?
Well, that's a great one, and we've talked a lot about that. The way I believe my team is, other teams may have different approaches because of their personnel, but I really believe our number one focus, and as coach's cliche as it can sound, is that can we get better every day and take the noise away from us? And part of the noise is winning and losing. Ultimately, that's the ultimate goal. But with 8 teams going, I know we have the talent to be competitive and make a run. That the reality is you got to get in and be playing your best football at that point, and I think that's where we're at. That's our approach with our group of kids, because again, we still have some kids that are going to be major players for us that are still new and somewhat. I think of an Augie Lane who started playing football in 9th grade. He's not a kid that's been playing since 3rd grade. He started last year the first time, and so he's just going to continue to get better. Jackson Whitworth's another kid that, didn't start playing until 9th grade and played last year but was getting his feet, wet. We have several of those sorts of things, and so I think for us, we are absolutely, can you get better and focus on the improvement versus the end result. Of course, I feel like we're going to win our fair share of games because I think we're talented and that sort of stuff. But even when we win, honestly, did we improve or did we just win? So I do think for us that's going to be critical that we're just playing our best football at the end.
Coach, looking back to last season, again, 2-8, including the one loss in the quarterfinal to Sheridan Bronx. Again, for your team, there's nowhere but up. But looking at 2022, as again, this team is older, wiser. Again, you got more talent, veteran talent out there that have had that varsity experience for the Cheyenne Central Indians. For you, Coach, what is realistic expectations of this team, kind of standing-wise? Of again, we hit 500. Hey, that was a successful season for you. Obviously, again, you want to go undefeated, but what's kind of the real expectation, goal, or expectation for this team on the standing wise here in this season?
You know, I'm not sure I'd even talk about standings where we're at, but I do think that an absolute is, you know, I'll throw it out there, that an expectation is that we're in the semifinal game. And that's probably, because once you get to the semifinals, you're a game away. And I do believe this group has enough talent to, to get to the semifinals. That doesn't mean it's going to be easy. There's a lot of great teams, all those things that are out there, but I think they'd be selling themselves short themselves if they were to be asked that question. That I think, you know, you can get into the semifinals, and then it's, you know, can you put it all together? And, you know, we've been there. You know, we got there once and weren't able to. And that's, to me, that's the mark. If you can get to that semifinal game, then, you know, you got to win one game, and then, you know, there you are.
Coach, final question for me, and again, we appreciate you joining us today on the show, and again, looking forward to chatting with you, getting ready for Central High football. Again, week 2, Natrona County in town, taking on the Central High Indians. Again, we will have that here live on 1480 K-Ray. Coach, you mentioned a few names, Nathaniel Talich, Andrew Johnson. Again, those are former Indians that are now moving up to the next level, especially D1, to compete for the University of Wyoming. How big is that to, again, see, especially for you, Coach, on a personal level, where, again, how special is it to see athletes that you train that move on up to, again, represent Cheyenne Central, represent your football team, especially on that D1 level? Again, we know we have athletes going from JUCO all the way up, but it's got to make you proud to see that, again, we're sending athletes and we're getting those looks here at Cheyenne Central to move them on at least that collegiate level.
I think it's really important, and it's really important in today's age because, you know, it just is what it is. I don't necessarily spend a lot of time worrying about it or fighting it, but, you know, anymore a lot of stuff starts to go. What school should I go to? What offense do they run? Who had the better record? You're battling that as a coach anymore, and you battle it more and more when you're in a school of multiple schools. And I think when kids like that come and show up and put in the hard work, and you know, other kids can say that I can get to my dreams, you know, from being a football player at Cheyenne Central or a basketball player or whatever. I think it's really important that we have that. And so we embrace it, and we embrace those kids and are excited to watch their futures as well. And you know, I know that they're both going to do great things up there.
Well, Coach, after doing about, 50-plus games of American Legion baseball, a season that was almost 80 games long, looking forward to the high school football season, looking forward to coming out to Risky Field and seeing Cheyenne Central here in a few weeks as you battle the Natrona Mustangs. We wish you all the best, and again, as Nick said, you only can go up from last season, but I have high expectations, just like you do for the Ward Tribe. I think you guys are going to be in pretty good shape this season. And again, I think the most important thing you have to add to that statement that I made is health, and that's always a key when we're dealing with teenage kids.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a big piece of it, and you know, it's 1, staying healthy, and 2, developing depth, and we're hoping to do that over the next few weeks, and we look forward to seeing you guys. All
right, Mike, take care. Mike Apodaca joining us, Cheyenne Central head football coach, beginning his 5th campaign as Indians head man. We wish him all the best. We will also be talking to, and we do want to mention, we'll be talking with Chad Goff, entering his 17th season as head coach of the Cheyenne Thunderbirds. Been with the program 20-plus years, and we will talk to first-year head coach Eli Moody. We also have on the docket for today, we're going to talk soccer with interim head coach Jim Gardner from Laramie County Community College. All of that coming up. Don't touch that dial. Oh, by the way, before we go to break, Nick, I want to remind everybody, it's primary day. You have until 7 p.m. to get out and vote. A lot of polling places for you here within Cheyenne and Laramie County. So, again, even though it's a primary, a very important primary for the Big Five, gubernatorial, U.S. Congress. We also have county commissioners. We have on the Cheyenne side, city council, so a sheriff's race, all kinds of things going on. Make sure you get out and do your constitutional right, vote today. Yeah, no worries, no pressure, as, again, the entire world watching the state of Wyoming today, again, especially with at least House of Representative race between Harry Hageman and, again, also too with Liz Cheney. So, again, the whole world watching at least this day, again, what the results are going to be outside of here in the state of Wyoming. All right, we're going to take a timeout. We'll come back. Eli Moody, Cheyenne South head coach, headed our way, and we'll talk with him here in a few minutes right here on 1480 K-Ray.
IHEPA's third annual premier charity classic car show, Cars, Cigars, and Guitars Under the Stars, is Saturday, August 20th at the Frontier Days exhibition hall, Frontier Park, Cheyenne. Proceeds from this year's event will benefit Custer and Laramie Counties, Cheyenne Needs, Cheyenne Day of Giving, and Cheyenne Meals on Wheels. Go online to www.carscigarsguitars.com for more details on event tickets and classic car registrations. Support these local charities August 20th from 3 to 8 p.m. Cars, Cigars, and Guitars at Frontier Park, Cheyenne.
Hop into the K-Ray Time Machine each Monday through Thursday for the golden age of radio, featuring famous radio classics such as Jack Armstrong and Suspense Theater, along with pioneers in the entertainment industry like Bob Hope and Abbott and Costello, along with many other performers who've captured our ears many, many years ago. Join us for the golden age of radio Monday through Thursday, 8 until 10 p.m. on 1480 K-Ray, also 101.1 FM, and you can also stream all of our programming on 1480kray.com.
MHP is a certified public accounting and consulting firm located in Bow, Cheyenne, and Fort Collins, offering accounting, tax, and consulting services to businesses, not-for-profit, government, and individual clients. MHP takes pride in their commitment to providing close, personal attention to their clients. They also continue to invest time and resources in continuing education, state-of-the-art computer technology, and valuing their relationships with you. MHP is a proud supporter of local and UW athletics. MHP, 314 West 18th Street, or call 634-2151. Check out the huge savings this week at Town & Country Supermarket Liquors. Here are just a few of the terrific weekly specials. It's your one-stop to shop featuring these super radio buys heard only right here. Black Velvet Canadian Whiskey, 1.75-liter bottle, $13.49. Corona Seltzers, all available varieties, 12-pack, 12-ounce cans, $16.99. And Jameson Irish Whiskey, 750-milliliter bottle, $17.99. Town & Country Supermarket Liquors on the South Greeley Highway, Cheyenne's low-price leader. For over 30 years and still delivering the results you expect is Cheyenne Auto Repair and Service. Larry Proietti again for cars in downtown Cheyenne, reminding you that John and his staff are there to take care of your vehicle's woes. From an oil change and replacing windshield wipers to digging deep into fixing your heating and your air conditioning unit, or fixing your brakes and shocks, you can depend on Cheyenne Auto Repair and Service for taking care of most minor repairs. And most importantly, John is a TechNet professional, which says he is one of the best nationally when it comes to getting your car or truck back on the road as soon as possible. Check it out online, technetprofessional.com. Don't wait till the last minute. Have your vehicle serviced by one of the best in Cheyenne. Cheyenne Auto Repair and Service at 604 West Lincoln Way. Call for an appointment at 307-632-0498. Open Monday through Friday.
Hi Cheyenne, it's Lee at Absolute Flooring. It's summertime, 4th of July, picnics, patriotism, new flooring. Yes, summer is the best time to floor your home, and Absolute Flooring has some of the largest selections of flooring you may desire. And with the constant rise in prices due to inflation, Absolute Flooring is pulling back on prices so you can get that new floor you've been wanting now. With no interest financing available, it's time to stop in at 3573 East Lincoln Way and AbsoluteFlooringWYO.com. It's your home, your floor, your store, absolutely.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 K-Ray.
Weather-wise for today, mostly sunny. Expect the daytime high near 80, mostly clear for tonight with a low down to 54. Tomorrow, Wednesday, sunshine. We're looking for a daytime high near 83. Wednesday night, mostly clear, a low down to 54. And for Thursday, continued sunny. We're calling for a daytime high near 83. Part 2 of high school football 2022. We bring on the new head man over at South High, the fourth head coach in South High's, I do believe, 12 or 13-year history. And I do believe the school opened in 2000, or founded in 2000, so about 13th season of football. Eli Moody, who was on staff last year with former coach Gallus, now being the head guy at Cheyenne South. I guess, you know, and we had the initial conversation when you were first announced as head coach at Cheyenne South. Again, you were on staff last year. It's always nice to get your foot into the door to be a head coach at a high school football program. You know the downs, so to speak, of Cheyenne South. Again, we'll ask you the question, why South?
Yeah, it was definitely nice to have that year to understand, because every high school is different. It brings pros and cons to the table. I've had a blast at South so far. The kids there are awesome to work with. I think South has a great staff, both athletically and academically. I really like working with the admin in that building, and there was never a doubt in my mind when it opened up. There was no hesitation. It was, I need to stay here, I need to step up, and I need to do this.
Tell us a little bit about Eli Moody. Reacquaint yourself with our audience. Besides being an instructor out at Cheyenne South, tell us a little bit of the resume.
I'm a Wyoming guy, born and raised up in Lovell. Won a state championship with the Bulldogs. Went on and played 2 years at Rocky Mountain College, and then I transferred and finished out as an offensive lineman for the University of Wyoming. I came in when Coach Bull did, so we got there at the same time. Got to play with the greats over there. Hit the ground running. First coaching job ever was a head football coach job at Grable. Was there for 3 years. Fortunate enough to make the playoffs twice. And then just family reasons, looking for a bigger place, that permanent place. We picked Cheyenne, and Dan brought me down, and I loved every second of being an assistant.
And again, you're a guy that knows what it takes to at least win or be competitive here in the state of Wyoming, especially on the high school side. Here we are in Class 4A. And again, we just at least last chatted with Mike Apodaca, Cheyenne Central head football coach. Again, he's entering his 5th season, but for you, Eli, your first. Class 4A, again, a heck of a lot different than the lower classifications, 3A, 2A, 1A on down here in the state. But again, it's pretty much off. Again, it's a passing game. You got to have a stable offense out there, and also too, we got to have numbers at least to be competitive, especially here in Class 4A. Let's get into that first and foremost. Again, in previous years under head coach Dan Gallus, again, numbers at this point in time of the season was an issue. It was something that, again, Coach Gallus was not too happy with. Again, wanted more, but again, it is what it is at Cheyenne South. At least you as the new head man over there, are we starting to see a little more enthusiasm from folks coming over from Johnson or within the halls to come out to South, or are we still having that number issue right now for the football season?
Kind of yes and no. Our numbers are still not where they need to be. We're not polling what East and Central does right now, or the Sheridans of the state. But we're ahead of where we were last year at this time. I worked hard to recruit, the soccer kids, the basketball kids, the wrestling kids, kind of make multi-sport athletes. And I've seen some success with that. We have some of our, used to be basketball-only kids are out there. Some of our soccer-only kids are out there right now. And then we have a lot of buzz. We haven't seen it translate, but there's, right now, going into week 2, I still have upwards of 10 kids that are on that fence. They're thinking about it. They're excited about it. They're just not sure if they're ready for it yet. I imagine by the first day of school we'll get 10, hopefully 15 more.
Coach, how difficult, and you can talk about the buzz and the excitement, how difficult was it to at least garner that excitement into those athletes that were not out originally for football, or again to get those folks again who may not even be involved in athletics but again look like they could be competitive for football? How do you get those folks enthused to come out for Cheyenne South, where again we know in years past, and again these are teenagers, again they can read these, the stats are online for those to at least look on for Cheyenne South, but how do you get those enthused to come on out, especially as we are dealing with again a 20-game losing streak at this point in time?
One of the biggest things has just been the upperclassmen. We have a solid group of seniors this year. I think we're at 19, and they've been doing a great job of pulling other kids in, reaching out to their friend groups, or most of them are multi-sport kids, so they're getting their teammates from other sports. Coaches play a role in it. I was in the hallway from the day I got hired to the last day of school. I was in the hallway talking to like you said, those the athletic-looking kids, the bigger kids that haven't played anything, the basketball kids that are super athletic, but football wasn't for them. I was talking to them every day. But I think the biggest thing is the juniors and seniors that are leading the program. They're excited about the change, so they're helping spread the excitement through the school.
Eli, and I'm glad you mentioned that you had that opportunity to play under Coach Bull. Again, the very good times that were there at the University of Wyoming. Again, Grable always with a good program, and then being a former Bulldog at level. So about winning traditions. And again, as you had your first taste last year, Cheyenne South, you saw the opposite side of the spectrum. How much pressure, or do you put pressure on yourself to win? Because again, hey, unfortunately in this business, and you know what I'm talking about, you're judged by wins and losses.
Yeah, I'm a super competitive person, so I'm always going to push myself and my team to be the most competitive they can be. Taking over a program that's on a 20-game lose streak, some of those victories aren't necessarily going to be on the scoreboard, and that's going to be the first thing we focus on. Is the small victories, getting the kids out, retaining the kids, being more competitive in games, winning some of our JV games, and you know, there's going to be that pressure to win right away, taking over a program, but we're going to focus on pointing the ship in the right direction, and then we'll get there.
You know, I noticed in all the years, obviously, and I've had the opportunity to cover Cheyenne South since its inception with Scott Noble, then Tracy Pugh, and most recently Dan Gallus. And it's been run. Whether it's a full house that Tracy Pugh had or a little bit of the flex bone, Dan last year mixed it up. And again, you had a good quarterback, and you were able to move. I do believe it was Braden Hughes. You got to move him off to the wing. But again, looking at the blend of offense, and Nick, you opened up by saying that again, this is turning more into a balanced type of Class 4A where, hey, we like to throw the football in the air. Obviously, South High and even Laramie to a certain degree still behind the curve a little bit. I know you had a young man at the quarterback position last year, was a sophomore. I'm hoping that he's back again as a junior. Saw a lot of potential in him. How are you going to incorporate almost that? And I don't want to say 50-50, but you know, we got to sling it downfield.
Yeah, so it's brand new. I brought in a completely new offense to modernize it and to catch up with what the other schools are running. In an ideal world, ideal game, we'll have about a 45-55 split. And you know, yeah, we have 2 kids right now really slugging it out for that starting QB spot. They both can run, they both can sling the rock, and we're going to go to the strength of our kids. You know, we have kids that can be dual threat. We're going to have some kids that can be really strong receivers for us. So we're not gonna hog time with a run heavy team. We're gonna let them do their thing too.
And again, too, you know, like you mentioned, being on the line, and you know, I had that opportunity to, you know, being on the tight end side. So again, you're in there doing a lot of blocking. Got to have the hosses up front to make things happen, whether it's going to be the passing game or the running game. And again, too, you know, unfortunately, South, you might have had I think the Lars Quinvillin kid, who was an excellent football player, but he's got to have extra horses around him as well, too. Offensive, defensive lines got to be a first and foremost need for South to be a team that's going to be, you know, I want to say a competitive team.
Yeah. We're fortunate enough. Lars was a great player, and you know, we lost him to graduation. We're bringing back the other 4 starters, which will help us a ton on the offensive line. And then we have three guys that kind of fit into that. They went out and they got recruited by the kids that are varsity caliber O linemen that didn't play last year that are also fighting for that spot. So we went from having, you know, 4 returners. Now we're having 7-8 guys fighting hard for those 5 spots.
Got to get into where we equate Central and East, now South, kind of at least no more of that rebuild. It's kind of reload, or at least hopefully that is kind of the change that is at least very necessary over at Cheyenne South. Again, hopefully under your tutelage, Coach, that is at least the kind of future for the Fighting Bison. We go back to last season, again, 0-9, 20-game losing streak. It's been a while since this team has picked up a victory. You know, our first contest as well, too, do want to mention that we will get you guys right out of the box. Week 0 up at Thunder Basin, taking on a very talented Bolts team. So looking forward to that matchup up in Gillette, Wyoming. But expectations for you, Coach, this season, you kind of equated to, again, the small victories. And again, at least me personally, again, it feels like it's 8 teams, and then it's unfortunately Laramie and South, that at least how it kind of sizes up here in 2022. But for you, Coach, Do you feel confident that we can pull off victories against a Laramie, surprise maybe an East or a Central, or again one of those lower teams in the top 8? I mean, what are your realistic kind of expectations out of this season?
Yeah, obviously, like I said, I'm super competitive, so we're gonna give every team we play our best shot, and we're not gonna back down from anybody. It is gonna be tough sledding against the Bolts, the Sheridan Bronx, East. Those are pretty storied programs already, traditionally good. It's tough to go beat those teams. But we're gonna focus on ourselves. Like I said, I have a big senior class that's ready to leave their mark. They don't want to be just another class that won maybe one game. I have a solid group that is right now. They're saying no, we're gonna be the group that finally puts our foot down and says we're gonna compete. If that's one win and a bunch of close losses, or if that's 2, 3, 4 wins, is to be determined. But we're gonna stand tall, and we're gonna put our best foot forward every week. And those seniors are ready to find success.
I remember conversations with Tracy Pugh many years ago, and coming from Wheatland down to coach at South, and the first thing that he noticed right away was bigger, faster, stronger in Class 4A. You've been at the D1 level, so this is all relatable. Your takeaways last year from Class 4A, being on the sidelines again, obviously trying to motivate South, but you got to see the opponents, as you mentioned, the likes of the Bolts and the Bronx up in Sheridan, the Mustangs at Casper Natrona. You saw it bigger, faster, stronger in Class 4A. Your takeaways?
Yeah, it's definitely the case. There's in the smaller schools, there's the Douglases and the Codys that are phenomenal at football, but 4A separates itself with depth. Yeah, it is what it is. They have, those schools have 30, 40 guys that are varsity ready right now, where the smaller schools are lucky to have 11, 15. And our biggest push at South is we didn't have that depth. We weren't ready to compete depth-wise. So we modernized our off season. We've streamlined a bunch of our summer stuff. We're increasing numbers in summer workouts. We doubled the number of kids that lettered in summer workouts this year. We're really pushing the depth aspect of it, and not having 11 starters that have to play both ways.
Now, you mentioned, too, a lot of these young men these days, and young ladies, too, are being almost roped into going one sport, and then, that's what they focus on. But over at Cheyenne South, you were announced early enough to get plans put in place, whether it's a weightlifting plan or summer camps. Tell us a little bit about the participation for the summer prior to hitting the field last Monday.
Yeah, so we hit the ground running. We started, with some of our open gyms right there at the end of the school year, rolled right into our camp prep practices, and then we went over to University of Nebraska at Kearney for our summer camp. And across the board, our participation was better this year than last. Like I said, we almost doubled our summer letterers, and that's weight room participation. We took about 15 kids more to camp this year than we did last year. And then we've started fall camp with about 15 kids more. And like I said, hopefully we get another 10 or 15 on top of that. I'd say the biggest thing is the kids are excited. They're ready for it to be new. They're ready for it to be different, and that's getting them to show up every day. It's not the routine they've learned, so they're kind of on their toes, ready to go. They're beating coaches to the door a lot of times right now, where I got 10, 15, 20 kids waiting for me to unlock the door to get in the weight room or get in the gym or get in the stadium.
I was going to just my final thought too, Coach, and you mentioned coaches. You had a chance. Last time we talked to you, you were getting ready to complete your staff. Talk about other staff members under the Eli Moody regime.
So our sideline's going to look a lot different this year. There's three. I brought 3 staff members back. Coach Quigley will be calling the defense this year. Coach Collins will stay as the freshman head coach, and he'll help with running backs and fullbacks a little bit. And then Coach Jason Woodard will also be back on staff helping with D-line. Outside of that, everybody's new. I have a new quarterback coach, new O-line coach, new receiver coach, new linebacker coach, new DB coach, new special teams coach. And then we're with 4 or 5 volunteer coaches that are also new to the program that weren't there last year.
Top of the new coaches, again, it just feels it's a new season, it's a new era, it's a hopeful kind of time and age for Cheyenne South, especially, again, the excitement sounds like it's starting to build over there at Cheyenne South. So, again, for us, as we've been the proponents of, again, South getting back, being competitive, as, again, being one of those top dog teams, not even just here in Cheyenne, but, again, Class 4A, it sounds like this is kind of that stepping ground to move forward for Cheyenne South to a bigger and better kind of, at least football.
No more running clocks. We want 4 quarters of football.
Yeah, without a doubt. Last question for me, for you, Coach. Again, we appreciate you joining us today in studio, and, again, looking forward to week 0 on the road at Thunder Basin up there in Gillette. Philosophy for you, again, we talk about weight training, we talk about offense, defensive schemes. You know, again, you've been around this great state, again, from every various level, but again, you've played on that D1 level from Coach Craig Bull. Philosophy, style, or again, things that you take away, again, has it been a little piece from Craig Bull, piece from Dan Gallus, or is this all weight training, everything just kind of what you've kind of mentally at least developed as you've played and coached a little bit through at least your time?
Yeah, I think that's how coaching is. You take a little piece from every stop you have along the way. So I have stuff that my head coach, Doug Hazen, ran in Lovell. I have some things that I learned up in Montana, my 2 years there. I've taken a lot of stuff from Coach Bull. He's a huge coaching influence for me. So a lot of his philosophy I do carry over. And then Coach Gallus had a lot of great leadership and locker room philosophies that have stayed put. I felt that they would lead to success at South, and that I just needed to change kind of the X's and O's to fit me better. But a lot of his more locker room philosophies I did keep.
Well, Coach, again, we welcome you to the head coaching position at Cheyenne South. First season, we catch you at week 0. Believe it or not, next Friday. Are you starting again, knowing that here it is? You know, being on the sidelines last year, Class 4A. Okay, I'm an assistant coach, but now I'm the head guy. Are you starting to, get amped up a little bit? That hey, we got the Bolts coming up next Friday.
Yeah, I'm excited. We're ready to go. The kids are dying for that true live competition, and the way our schedule shook out this year, we start with Thunder Basin and Sheridan back to back. So we start with 2 of the powerhouse teams. So there's no better way to judge where you're at than playing the top dogs right off the bat.
Eli Moody, head coach at Cheyenne South, join us here inside the Pro Show. Larry Proietti, along with Nick Proietti, and we'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We got more football to talk about right here on 1480 KRA.
I'm Brandon Warner with the Silent Witness Crime Of the Week. Laramie County Sheriff's Office is seeking information related to a vehicle burglary that occurred in the 9200 block of Bell Avenue. Between June 22nd and the 26th, a vehicle was entered. A Springfield XD handgun was taken. If you have information about this or any crime, call Crime Stopper Silent Witness at 638-TIPS or on the web at silentwitnesslaramiecounty.com. You will remain anonymous and may be eligible for a cash reward of up to $1,000. Together, we can make a difference.
This is Donald Trump Jr. Liz Cheney betrayed Wyoming and stabbed conservatives in the back when she bowed to radical Democrats like Nancy Pelosi. That's why President Trump and I are both supporting Harriet Hageman to replace Liz Cheney in Congress. Harriet Hageman is a conservative fighter who has the guts to stand up for Wyoming values and a track record to back it up. She's a strong America First conservative who isn't afraid to defend our Constitution and our border. Harriet Hageman is the only, and I mean only, candidate running who can defeat liberal Liz Cheney. My father, President Donald Trump, and I are both urging all of our Wyoming friends to support Harriet Hageman for Congress.
Harriet Hageman for Wyoming. Wyoming Values paid for and is responsible for the content of this message. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.wyvalues.com.
Flat Valley Bank can help you take advantage of every adventure, whether your goals are to upgrade your vehicle or you have plans for a new business venture. We are here to help guide your financial journey. Our customized personal and business loan options can take you from everyday excursions to epic adventures. The path to success starts at Platte Valley Bank. You belong here.
Platte Valley Bank, member FDIC.
Your locally owned and operated radio stations, KYOI FM and 1480 K-Ray AM, are just that, local. Serving Cheyenne and Laramie County, where your advertising dollar stays local too. It doesn't end up in Colorado, Oklahoma, New Hampshire, or even New York. We conduct business here. We shop here, and we live here. And we support our entire community 24/7, 365. Just because it has a window dressing doesn't mean it isn't a facade. A reminder from KYOI and 1480 K-Ray. Hey, let's not sugarcoat it. Here's the real facts. CD rates are terrible these days. Bottom line, horrible. Barely worth bothering with. But at First Tier Bank, we strive to offer some of the best CD rates available in today's bad market. Ask about our CD specials and let us help you ride out the current low-rate environment with a reasonable return on a short maturity. Give Caitlin, Debbie, or Jessica a call today at 307-632-3500. First Tier Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. And remember to visit our second location downtown at 18th and Cary.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 K-Ray.
Otherwise for today, mostly sunny. Expect the daytime high near 80. Mostly clear for tonight with a low down to 54. Tomorrow, Wednesday, sunshine. We're looking for a daytime high near 83. Wednesday night, mostly clear, a low down to 54. And for Thursday, continued sunny. We're calling for a daytime high near 83. And welcome back to the Pro Show. Larry Proietti along with Nick Proietti. And a happy birthday, by the way, to my son, who 32 today?
Yeah.
Holy Toledo. That makes me old.
Well, yeah, you already are old, yeah, so without a doubt. But yeah, 32, so born 1990.
It's interesting, too. You know, people always kind of laugh. Your grandmother was born on the 8th. Your sister was on the 10th. I'm the 13th, the 16th, and everybody goes, "Wow, all those birthdays in August." I say, "Yeah, my lucky month was November, right in between football and basketball season."
Yeah, I don't want to know about that, but either way, again,
you better be thankful that it was a break for a month.
Yeah, but anyways, again, it's something that again, a lot of Leo August birthdays again between our family.
Oh, that's right, and your lady too.
At least with his girlfriend as well too. Again, Gina, she was at least the 20th. So again, both of us will be out in Miami starting tomorrow night. At least we have the late night flight out of Denver to go celebrate for about a good couple of days. So looking forward to that. So
did I help on that trip?
What do you mean?
Well, what I gave you for your birthday, I didn't help you on that at all.
No.
Wow, I thought at least it was.
Well, I mean, it'll added money, but again, this trip was already booked a while ago.
I thought it was dinner.
As we were anticipating to at least go to Yellowstone, so again, shifting it over to Miami. But anyways, again, as that'll be in the next couple of days. Again, Pro Show regarding next week. Again, I will be back in time for that. Again, we will have a couple guests on, at least tentative right now, working on a few at least folks to get in. As again, we're looking to at least here we are today talking high school football, Wyoming Cowboy football. Again, approaching very quickly. We'll have a few folks on to at least talk about that, and others at least moving forward. As here we are again, it is approaching fall time. It is approaching football time. NFL preseason underway. Again, regular season at least weeks away from that. So, but anyways, going back to our previous conversations with Mike Apodaca and Eli Moody here on K-Ray. Again, we'll start with Mike Apodaca. Again, for the Indians, it is absolutely a team that is got their eyes set on nowhere but up. Again, last year finishing 2-8, losing in the quarterfinals against that Sheridan team that eventually became Class 4A state champions. But again, as we talked about it last week, and I will go back to that comment by Mike Apodaca again. He's got the same feeling that I do, that 1 through 8 right now, outside again Laramie and Cheyenne South, it's going to be a competitive Class 4A, that it is not top heavy, that even though Sheridan is your defending champs, don't just hand them the title here in 22 automatically, that they got to earn it, just like Thunder, just like East, just like Natrona County, that again, any given Friday night, home or road throughout this entire conference, anyone could pick up a victory. Plain and simple.
I'm sorry. I'm still going to disagree with you. I still think it's about a 1 through 5 battle. I've already got those 5 in my mind. I've seen enough high school football in my time here. Again, first off, the Sheridan Bronx, defending state champions, and again, from the Don Julian era to Jeff Mowry, the program hasn't skipped a beat. It may have a burp once in a while, but other than that, that's the team you gun for. They're just mechanical up there. They can throw out 22 guys and say try to beat us, and they dare you to beat them.
They along with every other team here in Class 4A graduated some very top talented, at least athletes. Again, look at Thunder Basin. Yeah, they're going to reload. But again, they lost some very talented key pieces. Same with East, same with Central, same with Sheridan, same with Natrona County. Again, these are teams that, again, I equate it to Rock Springs of last year, where, again, you had this team, this Tigers team that was building year by year by year, and it paid off in a big way last year to an extent where, again, that Rock Springs Tigers team, when, again, you had a very senior-laden squad, they eventually got that state title game, lost to, again, Sheridan, but it was a work in progress. You are kind of equating to Class 4A that, again, there's going to be a Sheridan, Natrona, Thunder, whoever that's going to steamroll just like that. I don't see. I 1 through 8, and I'll include Campbell County, I'll include Cheyenne Central, I'll include Kelly Walsh in that conversation. That, again, 1 through 8 here in Class 4A, any given Friday night, you will find a team pull off a victory, whether it's home or on the road, and it wouldn't shock me. Again, Central to go up to Sheridan, if that's the case, and again, without having the schedule in front of me, again, to see when those two meet up, whether it's up there or down here. But either way, again, Central pulls off the win against Sheridan. It wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me to the extent of Laramie or Cheyenne South.
And I'm not going to argue with you or disagree with you. Again, you mentioned the likes of Casper Natrona. Casper Natrona was young last year, and they were pretty damn good. So
Same with Central.
Yeah, but guess what?
Central, again, let's go back to last year. Central as well, too, on the road won that game.
And the numbers that Steve Harshman has year in, year out. And again, the team that he's going to bring back this year, and again, that's another team. You stick 22 guys on the field and you say, come after us. So again, right there's two teams that I throw at you right away that say, come beat us. Then I throw Cheyenne East also out there too. Cheyenne East, even though Gavin Goff was injured there towards the end of the season, we got to look at the future for the last couple of games, and it looks pretty bright. So again, there are teams. The Bolts to me they're the question mark. I think they got the hardest hit by graduation. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
And Rock Springs also got hit really hard by graduation. But Mark Lenhart's done
Thunder Basin with the question mark at QB right now. Again, that's the big issue. But you got to imagine that the Bolts are going to be the same as what Cheyenne East does, where, again, hey, we move on, we graduate quarterbacks, we'll be perfectly fine. Again, who's going to be the next one to step up and get it done for the Thunder Basin Bolts? But
Mark's got that Tigers program. He's got the excitement going on in Rock Springs.
If there's a team, and I alluded to it last week, and I'll do it again here this week, again, Rock Springs, this Tigers team that graduated a lot. And again, we talk about a team that at least got hit hard by graduation, it's going to be that Tigers team. That's the team where I kind of put them in that bottom three, or I want them, but I believe that Coach Lenhart has that program similar to everyone else across Class 4A. Again, it's no longer rebuild for the Rock Springs Tigers, it's reload at this point in time. But they are a fringe team that could run into some woes here, some little growing pains, so to speak, similar to what Cheyenne Central went through last year. I could foresee that, but I still feel like, again, as we equate it to Cheyenne Central last year, again, even though they were 2-8, they were still competitive in a lot of those games that they did lose. Again, even outside of that quarterfinals matchup with Sheridan, they were losing by, again, just a couple touchdowns here and there, again, a couple few points. It was very competitive season, so I foresee that for Rock Springs. Even if they are one of the bottom-tier teams, they'll be playoff bound. They'll be competitive, but they might not show it on the win-loss column as they did last season.
And even though Kelly Walsh got hit with a couple of huge graduations off that football team, again, the stability at the coaching position right now has had Kelly sneak up on some of the bigger boys. But I feel a little drop off on Kelly Walsh this season. That's just my opinion.
Again, Kelly Walsh last year was a young team, similar to Cheyenne.
But they had that huge running back again.
Again, they're hurting, but again, who point out, as I alluded to with Class 4A outside of Laramie and Cheyenne South, 8 teams had bits and pieces of top talented teams graduate, move on. Again, you can equate it to East, you can South, or at least to Central, to Rock Springs. Again, every team felt some sort of talent move on. That's going to be at least something to replace.
See, and I dropped Kelly down. I moved Campbell County up. I actually moved them into my top 6 because that has been the growing pains of the Camels. And again, once they split into 2 schools, they were awful. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And then again, young, getting back into the system, new head coach coming in. I think that they're going to be a middle packer this season, and they're going to be the surprise team. But I think they replace Kelly Walsh in that middle of the pack type of squad. I still think your top 4. And again, I put them down. A nervous number 4 is Thunder this year. I really do. I still say you still have to beat Natrona, you still have to beat Sheridan, you still have to beat East, and Thunder Basin under Trent Pacula is going to be a good outfit again.
If I have to pick a top 4, at least for playoff seeding for how this will wrap up, who will finish the top 4 seeds here? Again, 8 teams make it to the playoffs, but who will be hosting at least that first round playoff game? East, yes, I think is at least one of those teams. I think Central could shock, could surprise. I think they could be in the top 4.
I got them in a 5.
I think they could be at least a 4 fringe team. I think they will step up and they will at least shock a few teams, so to speak, here in this season. East Central, I think, will have those 2 representatives out here in Cheyenne. Then Natrona and Sheridan. I think that's where it is. For me, again, as I think about it more and more about Thunder Basin, and again, looking at the 2 teams up there in Gillette with Campbell County, that's a team that's on the rise as well, too. That has had some close games. I do believe upset Thunder Basin last year as well, too, in that crosstown battle. I would move Campbell County. If this is going to be a competitive 1-3, I'd move Campbell County ahead of Thunder.
No, like I said, I'll keep my top 4 as is, and like I said, I moved Central in that number 5 hole. I dropped Rock down to about 6. I'll tell you right now, in Campbell County and Rock, I get a tie for 6th, and Kelly comes in there at that number 8 hole, and South and Laramie got to battle it out for number 9. That's the way I look at it. That's just me.
You've been wrong before, and I anticipate that again. You might be this season as well too.
Hey, I think Cheyenne Central, and one thing that when we talked with Mike Apodaca here earlier in the program, I think they're going to be an explosive offensive team this year. Alone, just with Keegan Bartlett. And again, Carlo Lobatos' brother, who was injured last year, Jackson Lobatos, he will hopefully be healthy enough, and he can toe the rock.
Yeah.
But again, what happened last year with all that injuries in the backfield, you forced Keegan Bartlett to be more of the ball carrier, and then the passing game suffered a little bit.
The worry for Central right now, for one Keegan Bartlett right now, is again with losing Nathaniel Talich and a few other kind of star, at least athletes on that offensive side. Again, you do have Lobatos back there to help him out.
And you got Whitworth too.
But it is something though that I do worry that again, who's going to be that shining spotlight target that, again, Nathaniel Talich was kind of that go-to guy. You don't really have that go-to guy to an extent. Again, at least Whitworth could be that character, but
he was for a lot last year. Nick, remember, Talich drew.
Guess what? Scouting's going to have him very at least tightly knit. It's similar to Nathaniel Talich.
You know where I think it's going to have to happen this year is going to be your tight end, because again, he is your dump-off type of guy. Again, you think back to when you had the Storbo twins back at the tight end position. That was always a perfect.
Obviously, you can't replicate what they.
I understand that, but you need to have a solid tight end, especially in Mike Apodaca's offense. I see the Central Indians. This is where I see them right now, just by our conversation with Apodaca. They're going to score a lot of points, but defensively, they're going to give up quite a few as well, too. I think their weakness is going to be on the defensive side.
Which again, equates to what happened last season. Looking at the stats, again, offense was below defense, but again, it was kind of at least points for and points against. It was kind of near even of those 10 contests for Cheyenne Central. I could see that. Like I said, I believe that Central, again, the year older, year wiser, even though with the question mark on the offensive side, for me at least, to find targets for one Keegan Bartlett, it's something that I still believe that they are going to be very competitive this year, that they will move up, and that, again, they could find themselves in that 4-seed slot. But, again, when it comes said and done to that quarterfinal matchup between 1-8, 2-7, 3-6, 4-5, This is a season where we saw it a couple years ago, especially with Cheyenne Central, that number 1 seed, get shocked at home against Kelly Walsh.
Right.
I could easily see that is kind of the matchups, or at least the worry for those top seeds, where, again, sure, you get to host these games, but as I'm thinking about Class 4A, when it comes to playoff time, yeah, it's fine and dandy that you're number 1 seed, but it's not a safe matchup even if you are taking on an 8 seed this season. I equate that 4A football this year is going to be so competitive. Again, home, road, any given Friday night, anyone could pull off that victory. Again, Campbell could shock a Sheridan. Central could at least surprise a Natrona at home, whatever the case may be.
Before even snapping the football, I can see Central right now as a 5-4 team. Before snapping the football, I can see Central. They are going, again, you have to be great in week 0. You have to be great in week 8, leading into the playoffs. I see Central, the defense is going to have to catch up to the offense. That's going to take at least a couple of games under their belt before. And again, a lot of these guys go both ways. So we'll see how it develops. But right now, I see Central as a 5-4 team. For Coach Moody, I'm hoping that maybe there is a win or two in his season. And again, he's got that fire. And again, I think we're going to see a little difference in both him as opposed to Dan Gallus.
I think you're already seeing it right now, even before we have first snap for Cheyenne South at this point in time.
Yeah, he's chomping at the bit.
The enthusiasm, again, he's getting those athletes that were not athletes before out to at least be a part of this program. That, again, you could tell that Cheyenne South, this is a new breath of fresh air, fresh life over there for the Fighting Bison. That, again, there's hope. I think that's kind of the clear thing. Again, nothing against Dan Gallus, but now with at least moving regimes now, and again, now the new era of Eli Moody at Cheyenne South, me personally, again, don't expect them to be that dark horse here this season.
No.
I don't expect them in at least 2023, 2024, though. Again, you look to the future, though, this is where you kind of have hope. You have at least a chance for Cheyenne South, where, again, they could be competitive, could make it back to the playoffs, could win more than 1 game per season.
Well, again, and South fans will be excited, and also, too, you look at coaches in Class 4A. You can't defense now. You can't run your squads out there based on the flex bone or the full house backfield.
No, it's clearly
there's going to be a good mix. And again, you're going to have to, when you have your squad, what do they call that? Your practice squad out there when you're holding bags, being the.
I guess practice squad.
Okay, either way, the scout squad,
Scout team, yeah.
Yeah, the scout team. You're going to have to scout an entirely different package coming out of Cheyenne South. They're not as predictable. And again, you and I know, for all the years that, and especially me, for all the years that I've covered South, they were predictable. You knew what they were going to do.
Yeah,
last year they changed things up, but they just didn't have the numbers.
Yeah, for Cheyenne South, there was a situation of will they run to the left, run to the right, run to the middle. That was about it. Again, they'll air it out once in a while. And again, we saw a couple of games where, again, it was about 1-2 passes, and that was it for the full 4 quarters for Cheyenne South. Again, you talk about we talk Central. There's nowhere to go but up for them. Same with Cheyenne South. Again, it's a program that is on a 20-game losing streak. Again, their last win was all the way back 2019. October 11th, I do believe, 2019 against Laramie. And again, it was, I do believe, at least looking at my notes, again, a 1-point victory over that Laramie Plainsman team. So, again, for Cheyenne South, the real expectation for them this season, again, could they get back in the win column? Could they at least end that losing streak? Yeah, it will come against that Laramie Plainsman team. That's the only way they can. But outside of that, again, what my goals would be, or at least what my hope for Cheyenne South is this season, is that, as we've seen in years past, we see a less amount of running clocks for this team. I think
that's all we can ask
as
for.
Eli kind of alluded to, again, it's those small victories, and especially on the scoreboard where, again, they're playing that full 4 quarters. Here it is in week 0. Do I anticipate that against the Bolts on the road against Gillette? I don't know. I really don't know. As again, Thunder Basin still a very talented bunch up there. Could South be competitive a week 0 out of the box? I don't foresee it. I would hope for it. If they are, and I'll say that if Cheyenne South, which again they should lose to Thunder Basin, unfortunately, in week 0 on the road against a very talented team, but if they're competitive, and I'll say competitive to the point where, again, they're down by 3 scores, 4 scores. But again, it's not that running clock, 45 points that we've seen
And we've
year
had-
in and year out.
you and I have had
I
this
consider that a
discussion.
victory.
Yeah, you and
I
I've had-
consider that a victory against a Thunder-based team that, again, in years past, again, since I think Thunder's existence, has running clocked.
They've boat raced
south every single contest.
And again, I'm in the same boat with you on this. Again, we've talked about this even coming home from Sheridan. We would love to see South, and again, that's why I kind of mentioned that to Eli here in our discussion. I want to see those kids out there 4 quarters playing 12 minutes of football and no stoppage of time. Because again, it's and I was and I know we need to get to a break here before our next guest, but it gets tough, especially on my side. I can't imagine when it's like A, being the kid, and being a coach. But, when you're at halftime and you're going to come out and warm up for the second half and it starts with the running clock, something's seriously wrong.
Yeah.
Or in the first drive of the third quarter, we go to running clock. It's got to be just disheartening. And again, from a broadcast standpoint, how positive can you be? There's not a lot. There's not
much to say. Yeah, without a doubt. When again a team's getting at least beaten as bad as that
They're
is,
getting
been
spanked.
Yeah, so it is something though for Cheyenne South again. At least with Coach Moody right now, again, there's a glimmer of hope right now. Don't expect them to be world breakers here in this season. Will we see improvements? I can hope so. I believe that there will be for Cheyenne South. Could they end that winning streak here against Laramie, or again maybe shock a team? I think there's a possibility. Again, I think the realistic expectation for South to pick up a victory this season would be against Laramie. I think that's later on here in Class 4A, at least in the schedule-wise. But, again, hopeful. It's something that it's a new era, and it seems like it's becoming a little infectious over there at Cheyenne South. And, again, will grow and grow upon for years to come for Cheyenne South.
And another key for South, they got to stay healthy. They got to have everybody available for every game.
Well, again, especially with the lack of numbers, they can't afford to lose at least anyone to injury this season. So,
all right,
very quickly before we get to break as well, too, do want to at least allude to, again, for Cheyenne Post 6, again, season has come to an end.
Yeah, I was going to say that, too. Go ahead. No, you go ahead. Well, Idaho Falls.
Yeah, Idaho Falls, again, the team that was 3 outs away from being upset by Cheyenne Post 6. Again, Post 6, again, losing at least in extra innings their Game 2 of part of the Northwest Regional Tournament. Again, we're only 3 outs away from making history. How about this for the Idaho Falls Bandits? I do believe that
and it is a double elimination tournament.
It's a double elimination tournament, but I do believe for the Idaho Falls Bandits, they're one of the final 2. I do believe they're playing for another championship.
Troy, Alabama, and I do believe they got to do the same thing like Cheyenne Post did. They got to win.
But again, how about that though for a team out of this Northwest Regional? Again, Post 6 was 3 outs away from. Again, is the final 2, at least in another World Series championship. Again, I hate to do this, but again, for Ty Lane and for company, again, for us as well, too, again, for Post 6, what could have been? What could have been if we picked up those 3 outs? Where, again, could we be saying, again, how competitive Post 6 was against this team, at least that Idaho Falls Bandits team? Oh, it kind of makes you wonder, again, could a Post 6 had this opportunity too?
Here's the way you phrase it, Nick. Is the better team in Shelby, North Carolina right now?
No.
I think the better team is here in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Unfortunately, the baseball gods weren't smiling on them that day. But
it makes you wonder, though, again, where what Post 6
the fortunes could have been for the Sixers this year. Hey, got to work on it for next season. Going to take a timeout. Come back. Chad Goff, head coach of the Cheyenne Thunderbirds, will join us next. More football right here on 1480 K-Ray.
This is 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
The West, the way you want it, Terry Bison Ranch.
It's your summertime fun spot all summer long at the Terry Bison Ranch, where you can enjoy live music at the Senator Steakhouse Restaurant. Wednesdays are date night from 6 until 9 p.m. Fridays and Saturdays, great local bands from 6 until 9 p.m. Dinner and dance for all ages. Bring the whole family and enjoy the West the way you want it. For more information, go to terrybisonranch.com.
Check out the huge savings this week at Town & Country Supermarket Liquors. Here are just a few of the terrific weekly specials.
It's your one-stop to shop featuring these Super Radio buys heard only right here. Black Velvet Canadian Whiskey, 1.75-liter bottle, $13.49. Corona Seltzers, all available varieties, 12-pack, 12-ounce cans, $16.99. And Jameson Irish Whiskey,
750 milliliter bottles, $17.99. Town and Country Supermarket Liquors on the South Greeley Highway, Cheyenne's low price leader.
This is Donald Trump Jr. Liz Cheney betrayed Wyoming and stabbed conservatives in the back when she bowed to radical Democrats like Nancy Pelosi. That's why President Trump and I are both supporting Harriet Hageman to replace Liz Cheney in Congress. Harriet Hageman is a conservative fighter who has the guts to stand up for Wyoming values and a track record to back it up. She's a strong America First conservative who isn't afraid to defend our Constitution and our border. Harriet Hageman is the only, and I mean only, candidate running who can defeat liberal Liz Cheney. My father, President Donald Trump, and I are both urging all of our Wyoming friends to support Harriet Hageman for Congress.
Harriet Hageman for Wyoming. Wyoming values paid for and is responsible for the content of this message. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.wyvalues.com.
Hi Cheyenne, it's Lee at Absolute Flooring. It's summertime, 4th of July, picnics, patriotism, new flooring. Yes, summer is the best time to floor your home, and Absolute Flooring has some of the largest selections of flooring you may desire. And with the constant rise in prices due to inflation, Absolute Flooring is pulling back on prices so you can get that new floor you've been wanting now. With no interest financing available, it's time to stop in at 3573 East Lincoln Way and AbsoluteFlooringWYO.com. It's your home, your floor, your store, absolutely.
It's always non-stop excitement when you visit one of our 3 locations of Wyoming Downs, inside the Outlaw Saloon on the South Greeley Highway, the Cheyenne Plaza, and at 1345 Delrange Boulevard, next to Culver's and Office Depot, where we offer many new machines and also have plenty of food and drink on hand at our spacious Delrange location. The action is always fast and furious with our pari-mutuel wagering from the nation's tracks and our pari-mutuel machines, which offer many different and fun games to play on. You can become the next big winner here in Cheyenne. Make sure to take advantage of all the promotions that we offer too. So come on in today and bring a friend to enjoy a lot of fun and excitement at Wyoming Downs in the Cheyenne Plaza, inside the Outlaw Saloon, and at 1345 Delrange Boulevard. Open 7 days a week. For more information, go to wydowns.com.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 K-Ray.
Otherwise for today, mostly sunny. Expect the daytime high near 80. Mostly clear for tonight with a low down to 54. Tomorrow, Wednesday, sunshine. We're looking for a daytime high near 83. Wednesday night, mostly clear, a low down to 54. And for Thursday, continued sunny. We're calling for a daytime high near 83. Right now on 1480 K-Ray, it's time for the Pro Show, featuring the only father and son sports talk show talking about the local sports scene as we take a look back and look ahead to upcoming events around our area. The Pro Show is on now, right here on 1480 K-Ray. And welcome back to the Pro Show. I'm Larry Proietti, along with Nick Proietti, and we bring on Cheyenne East head coach Chad Goff. You know, Coach, before we get into Cheyenne East football, and this has football ramifications to a certain degree, you had that luxury to coach your son, Gavin. And again, unfortunately for your son, he was injured right there towards the latter part of the season, which took him out for the rest of the campaign. Tell us a little bit how the recouping has been on that knee injury that your son sustained in that contest.
Well, it's been going good. You know, he right after that happened, you know, he had hurt his shoulder halfway through his junior season, so we decided to have that looked at as well. And so what we found out is he had been playing since midway through his junior season with a broken bone in his shoulder. So we had to have that repaired as well. So he had ACL surgery in November and shoulder surgery in December, and the shoulder's doing well, and the knee's getting there, and so he's doing good. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, I've never had a chance to catch up with you, and I've always been concerned. I hope things went well for your son. Good to hear that, Coach. All right, Coach, here it is. I do believe 17th season as the head man at Cheyenne East. You're back at it again. A lot of your staff members are back with you. I got to go before we talk about all the kids. What keeps those juices flowing there, Coach? Again, it's almost like,
middle August rolls around, and you got to get back out there and start teaching these guys how to play football again.
Yeah, we just have a good group of guys that love kids. Kids are the easy part of our job, and it's so fun to be out here with them. And it's a lot. We've known a lot of these kids. We have guys that have helped coach at the junior high at different sports, and so we just have a big familiarity with kids and seeing them grow. It's exciting for coaches just to listen to what that kid was like in this sport in 7th grade or this sport in 8th grade, and so just seeing the growth and where we got them and where they're at. It's just it's a fun time.
Coach, we look back to last season for Cheyenne East, where again successful outside of trying to defend that state title, where again you had a big target on your back the entire way. 8-3 with the loss, at least in the semifinals. So Rock Springs, a very talented Tigers team, but again it was another successful and very positive outlook for the Cheyenne East Thunderbirds. Recap what you saw out of the 2021 Cheyenne East Thunderbirds from last year.
There was just a good group of kids that came in with a lot of weight on their shoulders. We were, like I said, we were the state champions the year before, and that always puts a lot of weight on their shoulders. I thought they responded well. Take away the second half of that Thunder Basin game, we get to the latter part of the season undefeated, and then obviously things happen, and you lose a person that's a big time leader for you, and then that hurts. It's happened in years past, and I thought Camden came in and did well for us, and Rock Springs was a good football team. The matchups, we didn't match up well against them. I know that we played Sheridan and beat them earlier in the regular season, but we had better matchups, and we just didn't match up well against Rock Springs, and they kind of just took it to us twice last year in I think it was 2 of the last 3 games, to be honest with you. So, but I was proud of the team for having to replace the kids they replaced. I thought the offensive line last year just did a tremendous job in what they did. It was just a good group of kids that came together and just, with all the pressure on them, just went out there and played the game and did a great job and kept the program going in the sense where kids keep coming out. Our numbers are up to above 120, I think, right now, which is right around where we were at last year, maybe a little more, and that's due to the leaders we've had year in and year out, and the things that these kids do out on the field, and kids want to be a part of that, and so. I was super proud of last year's team.
And give credit to you as well, too, Coach, and your coaching staff as well, too. Again, where for Cheyenne East, under your time over there, again, it is at least reload program year in and year out, where again you are the topic of conversation across Class 4A of being one of the contenders for the state title. Again, here you are in 2022, amongst again one of those tops here in the Class 4A that teams will at least keep an eye out for you to see how the Thunderbirds kind of pan out. Here in 2022, Coach, again, you and many other teams lost some top-tier talent to graduation. This is something I talked about last week, and we talked a little bit, at least earlier today with Mike Apodaca, that I believe that Class 4A is very competitive 1 through 8. And again, we'll set aside Laramie and Cheyenne South as they're dealing with their growing pains, but 1 through 8, any given Friday night, whether it's home or on the road, any team can pick up a victory. Do you feel like Class 4A is that kind of evenly matched up, that competitive this season?
Oh, definitely. I think, you say 17 years, and I've just seen a change in my years as far as, like, there's certain things that just don't work anymore against certain programs. I think everyone has just done a great job with their programs, and I just think high school football is where it's at. I think it's so fun. You get what you get, and you make what you can out of it, and it's very competitive, and that's truly what you want. That's the fun part of it. We talk about that to our kids all the time. If everything we drew up worked exactly like we drew it up, this wouldn't be a game. And these kids go out there and compete for their school. They work hard for their school at all 10 schools, and so it's awesome to see when it's competitive, and it's good when it's competitive, because like you said, if you can have competitive games every Friday night, that helps you in the latter part of the season.
Coach, with the summer weights and again, the summer camps that go on for your young men, As you are now into, the second week of having the full squads out there getting ready, what do you see is your strong point right now? Is it your offense or is it the defensive side of the football?
Well, we're bringing back a lot on the defensive side. I think they have come along a little faster. We graduated 3 offensive linemen, and so that's taken some time. I think our wide receivers and our backfield, quarterback and backfield are right on point where they should be in week 2. But I think up front we're just still growing that spot, obviously, and we'll grow every spot. But I'm just telling you that's where we're seeing the most growth because they improve practice in, practice out. But as far as which side of the ball, our defensive side of the ball, I think when you bring back that many kids, they just are picking it up quick.
Looking at least upcoming for Cheyenne East, again, this season for you, Coach, it's going to be very road heavy. I do believe a couple trips out, kind of to the extremes here in the state of Wyoming. Again, as you're alluding to, Coach, again, it's kind of at least a little bit work in progress, but what are expectations for you and Cheyenne East this season? Again, you had a phenomenal mark last year, as you alluded to, again, week 0, Thunder Basin, a game that you had, but again, they came back, again, 8-2, very tough to kind of replicate. Do you anticipate Thunderbirds could possibly match that record? Or, again, as we talk how even matchup Class 4A is it going to be a battle to at least pick up wins left and right each Friday night for Cheyenne East?
I would tell you, I think we have the talent to compete every Friday night against whoever else is on that field. It's a good group of kids, and we have a good off-season. You're talking, I want to say, I think it was right around 50 to 55 football players made every day this summer that we asked them to be there, and that's tremendous. That's tremendous sacrifice for each other, and then the talent level that we have at spots just, I think, gives us a very competitive Friday night team.
All right, Coach. Well, we again wish you all the best and looking forward to catching up with you throughout the course of the season. We'll have Cheyenne East on our schedule here coming
Week
up.
3.
Week 3? Holy cow. Well, that means we're going to have a loaded, heavy Cheyenne East schedule towards the end of the conference campaign. Coach, all the best to you. Congratulations, and looking forward to working with you again.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Head coach Chad Goff of the Cheyenne East Thunderbirds. Again, his 17th season. Again, look when you graduated. You graduated in 2008, right?
19, yeah. How
2000,
about 2008?
I know, 2008. You're born 1990. But my point is, that was his second season as head coach. So, again, he's been and he was on staff with John Schroff back in the day as well. So, again, Chad Goff has been part of the Cheyenne East program for 20-plus years now.
Very quickly, again, Cheyenne East, we will see them week 3, as we alluded to. Again, that'll be the 4th game of the broadcast season for us. Again, week 0 happens here in Class 4A. So, again, we will see them week 3 at home against Laramie Plainsman. Again, as our schedule, again, we give every team fair shot of
South, Burns, Central, and East.
Yeah, so that's how it goes in Operation Pine, the only one on the short end of the stick, so to speak. But we will see them at the end of the season, right before playoffs. So again, we will see the Hornets as well too. But again, for our for our high school football schedule, again, go to 1480KRA.com. Go over there, go check out our at least broadcast schedule. Same with also too, it's posted, pinned at the top, I do believe, for the KYY 1480KRA Facebook page.
You did. That's a good visual.
Yeah, I do. I know what I do.
Yeah,
anyways,
again, once in a while you do.
Again, K-Ray's Facebook page, the Pro Show's Facebook page, also too over on Twitter at ProMan56MP. Go subscribe, go follow, go like, all that, at least on our social media sites. Again, our schedule is pinned at the top, so again, you can at least keep an eye out for what's upcoming here on 1480 K-Ray. Again, this broadcast schedule for high school football here in 2022.
All right, well, we've talked high school football, and now we will get a chance to talk college soccer. And hopefully we'll have Jim Gardner sitting at that microphone here in a couple of minutes. You are listening to the Pro Show. I'm Larry Proietti. Birthday boy Nick Proietti across the way. We're back after these words.
Capital Lumber is lumber one in Cheyenne. Are you listening? We're all the lumber store you'll ever need. For electrical, plumbing, paint, and tools, lumber and hardware, we're for you. We're out to earn your business, yes indeed. Capital Lumber is lumber one today. Are you listening? Capital Lumber's at your service all the way.
Remember, for all your lumber and hardware needs, stop at the family-owned and operated Capital Lumber Company at 1222 Dunn Avenue in Cheyenne.
It's no secret. Liz Cheney is desperate. Liz will do anything to cling to power. She's using Democrats to fund her campaign and begging them to switch parties just to vote for her. Now Liz is using D.C. dark money to run her TV ads, lying about Harriet Hageman. And we don't take kindly to liars here in Wyoming. The D.C. political insiders want to keep Liz in power so that they can continue controlling Wyoming's only congressional seat. Why else would Liz vote to restrict our right to bear arms? Liz Cheney is a serious threat to our Second Amendment. Unlike Liz, Harriet Hageman is endorsed by Gun Owners of America and received an A rating from the NRA. It's time to tell Liz Cheney and the D.C. insiders, enough is enough.
I'm Harriet Hageman, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message. Paid for by Hageman for Wyoming.
For almost 60 years, 1480 K-Ray has been Cheyenne's home for good times and great oldies. Add to that live play-by-play sports featuring high school football and basketball, along with LCCC men's and women's basketball. Now combo that with KYOY-FM and you have Cheyenne and the area's only locally owned AM and FM radio stations. But we don't stop there. We also have 2 FM translators which serve the area with programming from both K-Ray and KYOY. And that equals a lot of bang for your advertising dollar. Radio yesterday and now today, along with our websites, web streams, and digital ventures, makes us your one-stop shop. For more information, please call Larry Proietti at 307-637-0301.
Exhilarating, inspiring, and most of all fun. AJ Miller here for Kia of Cheyenne. Your thrill ride is here with the new 2022 Kia Stinger. The 2022 Kia Stinger also provides plenty of value and standard features like a 300 horsepower turbocharged engine, 18-inch alloy wheels, leather interior with heated seats, and available rear or all-wheel drive. Come into Kia of Cheyenne today, call 775-0123 or go to KiaofCheyenne.com and we'll make it easy.
The next time you have a craving for authentic Mexican cuisine, visit Guadalajara at 1745 Del Range Boulevard. Locally owned and operated, they serve their dishes with family tried and true recipes with the freshest of ingredients, made to order. Start off your meal with their complimentary chips, salsa, and bean dip. And if you're feeling adventurous, enjoy your favorite margarita or cerveza. Guadalajara, where the spice is always nice.
Check out the huge savings this week at Town & Country Supermarket Liquors. Here are just a few of the terrific weekly specials. It's your one-stop to shop featuring these super radio buys heard only right here. Black Velvet Canadian Whiskey, 1.75-liter bottle, $13.49. Corona Seltzers, all available varieties. 12-pack, 12-ounce cans, $16.99. And Jameson Irish Whiskey, 750 milliliter bottle, $17.99. Town & Country Supermarket Liquors on the South Greeley Highway, Cheyenne's low price leader. It's always non-stop excitement when you visit one of our 3 locations of Wine Me Downs, inside the Outlaw Saloon on the South Greeley Highway, the Cheyenne Plaza, and at 1345 Del Range Boulevard, next to Culver's and Office Depot, where we offer many new machines and also have plenty of food and drink on hand at our spacious Del Range location. The action is always fast and furious with our pari-mutuel wagering from the nation's tracks and our pari-mutuel machines, which offer many different and fun games to play on. You can become the next big winner here in Cheyenne. Make sure to take advantage of all the promotions that we offer too. So come on in today and bring a friend to enjoy a lot of fun and excitement at Wine Me Downs in the Cheyenne Plaza, inside the Outlaw Saloon, and at 1345 Del Range Boulevard. Open 7 days a week. For more information, go to wydowns.com.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 K-Ray.
Otherwise for today, mostly sunny. Expect the daytime high near 80. Mostly clear for tonight with a low down to 54. Tomorrow, Wednesday, sunshine. We're looking for a daytime high near 83. Wednesday night, mostly clear, a low down to 54. And for Thursday, continued sunny. We're calling for a daytime high near 83. Final installment of the Pro Show for this afternoon. Larry Proietti, along with Nick Proietti. We bring on the interim head coach at Laramie County Community College for the women's soccer program. A familiar name. Matter of fact,
guy we thought was retired.
Well, I thought he was going to be in the rocking chair with grandkids. He was riding off into the sunset. But lo and behold, Jim Gardner joins us back again on 1480 K-Ray. Coach, and I use the word again, Coach, nice to have you back. And you got to walk us through how Jim Gardner becomes the LCCC women's soccer coach again. I'm confused.
Isn't everybody? It was kind of a whirlwind deal. Coach Unless decided to leave about 5 days before practice started, and so that left him in a lurch. And they contacted me about 3 days after that to see if we could work something out. And I decided that I could come back and do it for the season as long as they would promise to hire someone early and not drag it out. And they met all the conditions that you need to make for me to come back. And let's see, they hired me on Monday and I started on Tuesday.
Coach, was there ever, and again, we've had this debate, I do believe last week as well, too, when this was at least announced, and again, we were trying to figure out the situation over at LCCC, that, again, it seems like when we've handed out that interim tag, it's gone to the next person up, so to speak, on that bench. Again, we saw it with basketball, both men and women, same with soccer on the men's side of things. Again, you look at to an assistant, a longtime assistant of yours, again, head coach over at Cheyenne East, Rebecca Valdez, was she or anyone else on that bench on the women's soccer side offered that opportunity to at least take the interim role and just kind of denied it, or what was kind of the process on that for those assistants?
Yes, Becky was offered. They talked to her first, but she's a school teacher, and she doesn't want to quit her career to come be an interim and then have to go through an interim process in 4 or 5 months, or 2 or 3, and give up a job like that. She's a good teacher and well solidified, so she said no, and that's why it took them 3 days to get to me. Kay, Olivia's the goalkeeper coach, just had a baby 10 days ago, so there's no way she could take the job. So there aren't very many people available, as you saw with hirings at South and Central, of the number of applicants. So I thought I would step up and say, yeah, people say they're going to do it for the kids, and that's what I've always said, so it's time to put out.
Jim, you got to get familiar with the kids again. I'm sure there are some names and young ladies there that that you probably were trying to get to come to LCCC. And then there's some new faces that Nate brought in. Tell us a little bit about how that is all meshing here in a very short period of time.
Yeah, I had 1 day to get to know everybody. So, yeah, I have all their names down. Haven't got all the last names, and we're just starting to figure out, who can play at what place and how they're going to work into the team aspect. We've got a lot of good individuals, but we're just not together as a team. And, of course, that always takes time, and we'll work on that as the season goes. I think that with this group, the biggest thing I've got to work on is making sure that they're happy and they move forward. It was pretty upsetting for them as things went, but I think they've adjusted well. They have to get used to me, and I have to get used to them, but they've done a marvelous job of doing that.
Coach, did we lose? And we've seen situations like this, obviously, again, with how close to the season, not anticipating that this happened. But, again, when a coach moves on that, again, a player was recruited by, ups and leaves, or, again, is fired or whatever, again, the case may be, again, we've seen athletes that kind of put themselves in the transfer portal or at least try to move away from that program because, again, they wanted to play for that coach. Did we lose any athletes due to, again, the resigning by Nate Olness, or, again, do we have the full squad out there that Nate at least recruited and had signed there at LCCC?
Well, I think that's a good sign. No one's left. They're pretty happy with how things are, and some of them expressed that it's nice that I'm here. It's a different perspective. So there's 26 kids recruited, and there's still 26 on the team. So I think that speaks volumes of the dedication and the character that those players have to give me a chance to, step in and see what we can do.
Jim, you were on the board of directors, so to speak, for fundraising for LCCC prior to, getting back into the coaching profession again. But looking back at Nate leaving the program in lurch, did it shock all of those board members that he decided to up and leave?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's well, I kind of knew what was going on, but I don't think anybody else on the board, the Booster Club really knew that he was going to leave. I think people knew that he was unhappy because the situation was happened with his girlfriend in the volleyball and didn't go so well. And I think people suspected, but I don't think anybody thought with a week left that he would take a position somewhere else.
Coach, is there any worry, again, with the at least lack of time, so to speak, where, again, we were, at least those athletes were anticipating under Nate's direction, again, his offense, his defense, his playbook, now getting it, at least getting adjusted to your playbook. Is there worry that this team is going to be step behind? And again, we've seen LCCC in the past, and same with Nate. We go very heavy on opponents, especially in that non-conference. Is there worry that this team is going to take some time to develop or at least kind of pick up wins this season?
I don't think it's a worry. Coach Unless did do a good job of, or I don't know if it's a good job, but he scheduled 5 preseason games against really tough competition. We've had to cancel a couple of those, and the university canceled one. So that part has loosened up. For me, the hardest thing is just walking into a team that you don't know anyone. I did that 30 years ago when I started East High School and 20 years ago when I started the team here, but it's been that long since I've taken over a team where I don't know anybody and don't know their playing ability. I think we have high expectations. We definitely have some talent. I have to give credit to Nate. He did recruit some good kids, maybe better quality than I've seen in the past. So I think that's going to help. And once we get everything together, being a step behind isn't that big a deal, especially if you've got a lot of speed. And I don't mean that our team. I just mean that if you're faster than your opponent, you can catch up faster at the end.
And obviously,
that's kind of the game plan.
And obviously, again, the NJCAA gave the nod to this squad. Same to the men as well, too. Again, preseason polls, again, I do believe at least number 16, at least in that top 20 preseason ranking for LCCC, as we've come to expect out of LCCC, at least men's and women's soccer, that, again, you got to like that. Even with the turmoil here on the head coaching side, even though, again, we got you planted in, even though interim tag, the NJCAA, that board, gave the nod and said, yes, LCCC still has that talent and still is a team to be respected here across the nation.
Yeah, there's still that respect. Actually, I sat in on that call where the rankings went. I'm still pretty close to a lot of the coaches, and the chair of that committee asked me to sit on it again. So it's kind of like just jumping back in the saddle. There's some good teams, but, I thought overall NJCAA might have been down a little. I went to the national tournament when we did the Hall of Fame thing for NJCAA. And I think we're going to be just fine. And I think the respect that we've earned in the past and my coming back makes a little bit of difference for that. But, I'd like to see us higher than 16, but we don't deserve it right now, and I think it's something we're going to have to earn.
Jim and Nick brought this up early too with Rebecca, and again, you have that luxury of working with Rebecca for many, many years. So Nate steps out, Rebecca pretty much is that glue, so to speak, to the women's soccer program. You step in, and it seems like probably that you two haven't skipped a beat, and I'm sure she was able to relay the info to the young ladies right away, and boom, you're back on the field and doing what you do best.
Yes, Rebecca's probably the best assistant coach in the country, and now that she's taken on the high school job and done that for a few years, she's even better at it than what she was before. That's one of the conditions I told them that I wouldn't do unless they allowed her to come back, and I don't even think it was a thought. I just wanted to make sure we're a great team. We worked together for 18 years, and I coached her since she was 14 years old. So we know each other well, and for me to take the job, it just makes my life a lot easier because she kind of knows some of the girls, and she's been at the program just as long as I have. So having her on board, it's more of a co-coaching than me being the head coach.
You might have retired for a little bit while Nate Olness was running the program, but I'm sure you kept your eye on Region 9. So as we take a look ahead to this season, who are the up-and-comers and who do you got your sights on right now?
Well, Casper came in 3 years ago, and this will be their third full year, and they're pretty tough as they won last year, and I think in the last 4 games they've beaten LCCC 3 times. I'd like to put a stop to that. I know Ammon Bennett up there real well, coached against him many years while he was at Iowa Western and Utah Eastern. So I have a good beat on what he's going to do. I think Otero will probably be okay, but I've heard some things of what they played that they'll be down. I do know that Casper's pretty good. They played the University of Wyoming, I think 3-0, and so that's a good result against a Division I. I'm not sure if anybody else is going to be any better than they were, so that leaves NJC right at the top. And, Trinidad was there, but I heard they're down to 10 players, so they don't have a lot of depth. So we'll see. I think we can be right there in the hunt, and with the talent we've got, I'd like to see us back at the national tournament. We get an automatic bid this year because we have more teams than anyone else, so if we win the region, we don't have to play a district. We're right there. So that would be my plan. That's always the plan, is to win at the end.
All right, Gramps. Well, we want to welcome you back in the saddle again as the LCCC interim head coach for the women's soccer team. Wish you all the best, and hopefully you will keep in touch with us throughout the course of the season.
Oh, I'd love to. It's always good to talk to you guys, and I appreciate you giving me a call.
All right, take care. Jim Gardner, head coach, LCCC women's soccer team. I'm sorry, interim head coach.
Interim.
And again,
he's one of the mini interim.
As he said, interim is a favorite word over at LCCC for some ungodly reason. But as he said, I will be back I'm only here for 1 year.
Yeah, for 1 year. So again, they will find a new head coach, whoever that may be. Again, interested to see that new at least search upcoming. But again, just at least glad to get the clarification on the assistant side. Again, for Rebecca Valdez, for Kay Olivius. Again, both head coaches here in Cheyenne. Again, East for Rebecca. Again, Kay over at Cheyenne Central on those girls, at least soccer programs. Again, glad to know, at least good to know that they at least were approached first before. Again, nothing against Jim, but again, I think it would have only been fair. Again, I think Rebecca and Kay have earned that opportunity to at least garner the interim tag in this kind of interesting situation at LCCC. But again, a wacky situation. Go figure that every single position now at LCCC, head coaching wise, has gone through an interim tag here under, again, a administrative staff that has evolved and also too has had an interim tag over the past couple of seasons. So again, we talk about stability over at LCCC. Again, we're still unstable in certain areas right now at LCCC, which is kind of a concerning thing on the athletic side. That again, both now and again, especially for the soccer programs, both men and women, we have 2 interim tags off of 2 programs that are, again, the premier athletic programs at LCCC that have gone to national tournaments, that have been in the national, at least, polls, that have had a lot of success. Again, it's concerning. It's a little worry, but again, you got to feel comfortable that, again, Jim Gardner is proven winner, proven success, knows what to do. Again, just hopefully it's not too last minute that affects the season for LCCC.
No, I think, again, with Coach Valdez there and Coach Olivas, they're there. That's like I said, that's a stabilizing force.
Yeah.
Jim comes in. He may not, he knows the kids, but it doesn't, he didn't recruit them. So all of a sudden, he's starting to put the X's and O's down, and these ladies,
and obviously, again,
these ladies are able to relay that information.
Yeah, as I say,
then boom.
Again, that's where your assistants come in to at least play that role of, hey, we know this X, Y, and Z on player. This is what they're going to be best at. Here's where we put, and again, blah 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 blah.
Well,
so
they also can tell the ladies too, Nick. Think about it. Hey, this is the way Jim coaches. We know Nate coaches this way. Jim coaches this way. This is what and again, they're relaying this to the ladies. This is what Jim expects out of you. And then Jim gets together with his team and says, hey, okay, ladies, throw up the ball, at midfield. Let's start kicking it around. But again, I think those 2 assistants who have been with Jim Gardner, and again, more importantly, Rebecca Valdez, as he mentioned, 17 years? Again, right now, I don't think the soccer program skips a beat. Actually, might get better.
Yeah, we will see how it develops, where, again, it's going to be an interesting season to see how LCCC at least responds, again, for them, again, a program that last year, again, exited out early against that Casper Lady Thunderbird squad, again, did not go back to the national tournament. Again, it's been some time since LCCC has not participated in that national tournament. So, again, obviously that is the main goal. Jim Gardner knows very well how to get this team to win a Region 9 championship, to get them to a national title, at least championship opportunity. So we shall see. I do want to mention as well, too, again, have reached out to Nate Olness to join us on the program to give his side of the story, or at least give him an opportunity to speak on his decision.
I think the speculation by Coach Gardner was pretty close. Again, he knows the answers to the question. I'm not gonna probe into it. I will tell you this though, and I make this prediction today. Your birthday, August 16th of 2022. Nate Olness will show up again in Region 9. I know exactly where he's going to show up at, And I know the young lady that was a very important part of his life will also be employed at that same institution. I guarantee you in 2023, you will see him on the soccer field again in Region 9.
We'll see. I mean, again, something like this does kind of ripple it again. Other teams, or at least, again, the institution that you're talking about, again, we allude to that Gillette College is coming back with their athletic programs coming up. I do believe they have a few trickling in this season. Again, the main fold will be in 2023 as the Pronghorns will be back in Region 9. And I do believe for, again, basketball, for soccer, so, again, at least team that, or at least a program, a school, institution that, again, if you're LCCC, you don't like to see, because, again, they are a very talented bunch up there.
And Nate was very successful at Gillette.
But again, is it something that this move, and again, for whatever reason it is, again, whatever the reasoning behind it for Nate Olness was, it's still going to at least ripple across. It's not a good look, though, again, to just kind of go, hey, I'm done right before, again, practice starts, right before the season begins. That, again, you just kind of leave that team high and dry. Again, you don't think that Gillette College, as they're looking for new head coaches, doesn't put that in effect and go, look, ooh, yeah, we like what you did, but we're worried that you might do it here.
And what's to say that he hasn't been wooed for the longest time? We don't know. Again, we don't know the answers, and nor will we give the answers. I'm just giving you a prediction, and that's all
I think it's a bold prediction. I could foresee it, but will it be a reality? I would lean more probably. I'd say no. Will Nate Olness be a women's soccer head coach somewhere across this land? Yeah.
Hey, you know, and what? Let's just say, for argument's sake, let's just play the speculation card. If the Pronghorns program was in contact with Coach Olness, just for argument's sake, and said, hey,
which I think is, I do believe by NJC, I know with the NCAA, I do believe that's illegal.
All right, well, let's say that he contacted them. Either way, my point being,
or at least there's some point in time where it becomes illegal.
Well, anyway, let's just talk where they have been in contact, or he and matter of fact, let them know, here's what I'm going to do. Because again, when we talked with Nate, they were very disappointed that he left in July. He had a very good reputation with the Lady Pronghorns up there in Gillette.
Well, in an undefeated season, or at least at the point in time for LCCC, their only loss was against that Gillette team, and lost to them in that Region 9 at least tournament. So again, yeah, he knows what it takes to at least defeat some of the elites here in Region 9.
I don't think on his resume, doing a Patrick Waugh like what he did with the Avalanche, I don't think what Nate did at LCCC is going to affect the resume. I really don't.
But I think it's something where institutions, including Gillette, pause and take a look and question him probably thoroughly on that, going, why did you do this, or what makes you think that you're not going to do it here? Again, if I'm an AD, or if I'm on these hiring boards, including for Gillette College, I take a pause and again, not fault him for it, but it's something of you deep dive and figure out, let's make sure, or at least question him of, will you do it here?
All right, well, if you're going to play that card, you're going to have to explain to your next job, so to speak, I had to work under an interim AD, then they hired a full-time AD. Here's what I was told, or, you know, again, he's going to have to give his side of the story.
Were things promised? Were things offered?
And again, too,
who knows? Again, that is something that, again, Nate will only speak upon. Again, hopefully somewhere in the athletic department they could speak upon, whether that is former interim AD, again, Dr. Cindy Henning, or, again, current AD Mark Puev, if they can at least chat on that situation. But, again, as I've alluded to with Nate Olness, again, we have reached out, or I have personally, to see if he wants to come on, give his side of the story, and it kind of, not so much plead his case, but again, just at least say how things went in his eyes of his decision making to at least remove himself.
And you know what, Nick? I don't think this is the end of a story that's going to happen out at LCCC. Because again, we saw problems at South High. I think this is just one problem that has developed. Again, we talked with the new athletic director. He's got a 5-year plan. Well, what is that 5-year plan going to be? You know, again, coaches are going to hang around for 1-2 years and then adios. You're going to be hiring new coaches
which
all the time.
in JUCO, again, you come to expect where, again, opportunities are going to arise, especially for these coaches where, again, you don't want to get stuck in the JUCO ranks forever. Again, you want to move on to D3, D2, D1 is the eventual hope, whether it is an assistant role. Again, look to, again, what happened with Western Nebraska where, again, we saw Chad Gibney get that offer to at least move up to the next level. It is a reality, but, what does it foretell for LCCC on the coaching side where, again, here in the 2020s, I mean, every single position over there outside of esports has had an interim tag. And is that going to be a growing trend that, again, we are constantly trying to find, we're putting in interim tags here and there, we're trying to find new head coaches. Again, this has been the big thing. And again, when we had the coaches show here on at least for LCCC on 1480 Carry, again, when we had board members, we had representatives of the school, again, the athletic department, we wanted stability. We are still far from stability right now with LCCC, especially where, again, now with this recent situation on the women's soccer side, will we find those coaches that are going to plant themselves for quite some time, not for their entire careers, but again, for some time to build, develop, get a winning tradition, similar to kind of like what Austin Albers did. He was in for quite some time, built that program up. Hiring didn't go the way that LCCC wanted, where, again, the volleyball program took a step back. But, again, fine where, hey, we're at least I'll equate it to Jim Gardner. He retired. Nate Olson didn't really miss a beat. Again, we had a kind of rough season there.
Dip.
But, again, it was still successful for LCCC. So, again, when will that stability hit LCCC? Hopefully it's sometime soon.
Well, and again, the new leadership in the athletic department plans to bring that new leadership in and bring the stability. But again, what you had over at South wasn't pretty stable. So I don't know. Like I said, that was at the
basically
high school.
You just have no confidence. Again,
that
promise will be. At least
I'm not saying I don't have the confidence.
Because I would agree with you to an extent that I don't have that confidence at LCCC again, where right now again, let's be honest with LCCC again, it is academics first, athletics is kind of that redheaded stepchild that again does not really get that respect, and nor does again those top levels over there at LCCC really care. It's something that again athletics is secondary over there. And that, again, moves like this fluctuation is not the massive concern to an extent to, maybe a Casper, a Gillette, to a CSI, some of these kind of powerhouses that, especially here in the western part of the country, again, it's athletics first, academics kind of.
You only have a half dozen programs out there, including the new esports. So, again, I mean, how difficult is it to run these programs?
Apparently pretty difficult.
With stability.
Again, apparently it's pretty difficult for LCCC at this point in time. We're again, let's see, at least AD-wise, in our time, again, at least here with the show and on K-Ray, again, with us partnering with them or, again, just having LCCC on, again, we've gone through Scott Noble, Clark Rasmussen. We've gone through Dr. Cindy Henney, who, again, had the 3-year interim tag. And now with AD Mark Puev,
who gave us
that's 4.
Who gave us an email and said we're not going to be back for season 7, which
it's in the past. It is what it is.
I'm not butthurt.
Again, it is what it is on that situation. But again, for LCCC, again, stability starts at the top, and once again, we are far from stable right now in the athletic department for LCCC. Again,
maybe folks will disagree with you. Maybe some that are out there at LCCC will disagree with you right now. Maybe they see something.
Only time will tell, and hopefully they prove me wrong. But right now, I just don't foresee it. That again, we're going to have a stable nature at LCCC anytime soon. Within the next, I give them 3 years, that things are going to pan out. And again, where we're building these new facilities, we're trying to enhance the athletics over there at LCCC. Again, our team's going to benefit from it. Are we going to see the success, consistently like a Casper, like a Western Nebraska, like a CSI, like a Snow College of the world, Tyler, Texas of the world? And will we see that? I don't foresee
And again, too, Nick, I'm going to say this, not trying to be a slam, but the man that you have in there now, the only winning program he had over at South was cheer. Cheer's not on the sports docket over at LCCC. Am I right?
Yeah.
And again, follow with me. Tell me a 500 season or above.
Not many.
Thank you.
Not many. Again, a lot of those programs over there again struggle to at least get one win, to get their first ever conference win. It was struggles, absolutely. We did see again coaches leave Cheyenne South that were unhappy with situations. We've had those conversations that again they moved on because they didn't like how it was handled over there. So again, it does cause for concern right now, and we've brought that up with Mark Poev when his time as AD at Cheyenne South was of, hey, again, we have issues right now, and he tried to address it. And now in a JUCO side of things, you know, I think where LCCC can skirt away compared to Cheyenne South is that LCCC is still, even right now, as much as we try to bring at least LCCC to the forefront, especially here in the city of Cheyenne, especially with our basketball at least coverage, and same with, again, giving the nod to esports, having the coaches show, all that good stuff for LCCC. I think where LCCC and Mark Poev kind of can get a way with it, or at least not have too much pressure on them, is due to the fact that, again, LCCC is still that college that's well outside of town, at least outside of Cheyenne. It's still that, you know, again, JUCO college that is 4 miles, or at least handful of miles south of Cheyenne.
Yeah, and
where eyes are not as heavy on them compared to, again, the high schools of East, Central, and South.
Well, and our goal, our mission over the 6 years was to bring them into the city limits of Cheyenne,
which
so
I think we did.
And again, now with our not being a part of LCCC, hey, to the athletic director, good luck. See if you try to continue that momentum of keeping LCCC in the forefront. I think the only positive thing that came out of all of this was hiring Jim Gardner as the interim head coach, because Jim does have a lot of muscle within the city limits to help in fundraising, as also again with his credibility and again his awards as a head coach. I think he continues some of that stability here in Cheyenne.
And obviously we're getting to the top of the hour, but again with the interim tag on Jim, where again it shows that he's not going to be the official guy.
But he
does that make it tough?
Asked for it,
does that make it more difficult though to get those individuals, or again those whoever out there to support LCCC women's soccer, where it's like, oh, cool, you're on for a year, but after that, it's a question mark of what this team's going to be.
And the hires so far have not been local. So think about that. They've gone outside of Cheyenne to bring in volleyball, right?
Volleyball, basketball. The only at least retaining was at least with Dwayne, who's been on staff for quite some time. So, again, that's the only.
No, I'm talking about as of now. Volleyball was brought from outside.
I'm talking about, again, Dwayne
soccer,
is a recent hire as well, too.
soccer?
Men's soccer, again, he's been on staff as well, too. So, again, it's not an official head coaching position for him, but it is something that we'll see if he gets a nod similar to Dwayne, where, again, he went from interim to official head coach over there at LCCC on the men's basketball side of things. So, yeah, again, it's been outside of the city limits, where I don't know if you're alluding to that's something that needs to be done. I think more of the concern for LCCC on the athletic side is, again, you're trying to find proven winners, which, again, you've found with Dwayne. Again, thankfully, he was on staff for quite some time.
And Coach Mack.
Again, with at least former head coach Jay Safica. Again, yes, Coach Mack has found some success, and hopefully, again, that continues here. Coming up, again, we'll even get the nod to esports as well, too, with Madison, where, again, they national champions. Not too bad in your first year to at least garner one of your teams that's national champions on the esports side of things. So, again, they've had success, but it's got to be success all around, as we've seen other institutions around, including Region 9.
Consistent success.
Yeah.
No, again, like you said over Casper College, just reload. All right, well, we got to wrap things up here today. Thank you for joining us. Again, thank you to all our fine guests, Eli Moody, along with Mike Apodaca, Chad Goff, and most recently Jim Gardner.
So very quickly, want to mention again, no K-Ray reports coming up Monday. Again, I'll still be out in Miami, but we will be back 11 a.m. to 1 next Tuesday here with the Pro Show here on 1480 AM, 101.1 FM, 1480KRay.com on the audio side. Video live streaming as we do on the 1480KRay YouTube channel, also too over on the Twitter side on my personal account, ProMan56NP. Go subscribe, go follow, go like our Facebook pages as well too. Again, we will be back with the Pro Show coming up next Tuesday.
And if you haven't done it like me, and I'm going to do it here in the next 15 minutes, get out and vote. Polls open until 7 p.m. So for birthday boy Nick Proietti, I'm Larry Proietti.